All right, heyo everyone, JMac here. Final live stream of 2024. Amazing. It's the end of the year already. My, let's do this. Rubbing on my AirPods is getting annoying. Cool, I'll just have a little like wings, like an elf here. This is fun. Okay, so today I want to work on Blueprint, but I want to not work on Livewire Blueprint. I want to squash some of these bugs. If you've watched some of my previous streams, you know that I like anytime like the bug or the issue count gets above 10, I kind of start to feel like I should give it some love. So let's give it some love, right? I tagged a couple things kind of right before the stream that I think are doable, at least a couple of these. I think I can filter based on live stream. So let's kind of go through these. I'll more or less work top to bottom. I'm hearing some stuff in the chat. Let's just make sure everything's good. Good morning. Cool. Hey, Alex, how's it going? Yeah, no problem. Streaming is fun. Thanks for joining live. Yeah, the streaming, it motivates me. I'm going to continue on into 2025. I like doing the weekly streams. It kind of keeps me motivated in a way, but it's a decent enough cadence that I can keep it without quitting very often. Sometimes with conferences or sick or whatever, yeah, I have to skip one or two. But for the most part, I like the weekly cadence. I feel like I can keep up with that. Anyway, let's jump into some of these things. First of all, I thought this one was great when I saw it, especially since I just added Livewire generation. Let's give a little bit of love to inertia. I have not used inertia, to be honest, but definitely should have this. So they have a little proposed syntax here. They're saying, hey, can we add a controller statement to render inertia? Now, again, I haven't used inertia, but I just kind of jumped over to Jetstream here and saw a pretty basic output. It looks like you basically just pass it whatever you're rendering. Let's call it the view. I don't know if that's the proper term, but you're rendering some kind of page or view or route here, and then you're passing it data just as you would a standard Blade template. So we can do, I think we can just kind of keep the same format as a render statement. It's just kind of an inertia render statement. I don't know if I'll piggyback the same thing or just make an inertia statement. Pretty straightforward stuff though. So let's just jump in. Let's jump in and take this. I think I'm gonna copy that. Let's go to workspace and blueprint. There we go. And let's pull down the latest. Okay, we're up to date. Great. Let's do a get checkout dash B. Do I want to do each one of these in a separate issue? Yeah, probably. Why not? Let's just call this inertia render. Cool. Let's go to our test fixtures draft files, and let's make a new file called inertia render.yaml. And let's paste what they gave us. We don't need controller here. We can, again, be a little bit blueprint-esque. We don't need this show either. We can be pretty simple here. And instead of customer, show customer. I see what they're doing here. They're just passing down. I'd like to do one more thing here just to kind of demonstrate customer. Let's do something random here, like query, or I think, what do I have? I have all. Don't I have like all? Or is it query all? Is that how it is? Oh God, I don't even know Blueprint. Look at me, I wrote it and I don't even know Blueprint. Blueprint, laravelShift.com, controller, statements. Let's see, we have a query. Where's query? There's query. That needs to be clickable. I thought there was like a query all. I think I think there is. We're gonna run with it. I think there is. I think if I go to the demo, actually, where's the demo? The README demo. README example. Yeah, query all. Okay, and then it assumes based on this. Okay. I don't know if I can pass that like query all comment or something like that. I don't know if I could do that or not. That'd be a nice addition. Anyway, let's just focus on this. And I'm really just trying to pass this something else to demonstrate that it can handle kind of multiple things being passed to it. So let's set up a test for this. I think we have like a controller statement test, maybe? No, we don't. Do we have like a render statement test? No, we don't. I think we just have a controller generator test. And we just have a crap load of these things. Yes, we do. There it is. So let's do inertia render YAML. And this is going to generate a customer controller. And we're going to make this be the inertia render.php. And let's move this up. It's not as hefty as some of these other ones, so let's just do like this example. Or here we go. We have other statements. There we go. Let's put this in here. And let's just run this test and see what happens. It should explode because we don't have the output. So let's get that going. Okay, cool. So that makes sense. This particular file does not exist, so let's make it exist. So let's touch, test, fixtures, controllers, inertia render. There we go. And we should run this again. And now it should say, oh, this doesn't match this. So method put empty file should not be called. Okay, so now we can do the classic thing where we go into our controller statement or our controller generator. We can go down to stub and we can just dump this and see kind of what we are getting. And let's just isolate that particular test. I think we can filter. I think you can filter based on this. I think you can say that #7 and it should just run this. There we go. Okay, so here's what this outputs. Customer all, perfect. Customers, good. That works the way I kind of wanted it to. Right now it's just assuming a response. So here's where we need to really back up the chain. We really need to back up the chain here and get this. First of all, let's get our desired state. So let's go to inertia render. Let's paste this. Let's get rid of all these little bits here, replace them with nothing. Cool. And then we also need to say return. So let's just borrow from this. Right. Again, let me know in the comments. I have not used inertia enough to know if this is really what should be output here. This is my guess. So we're going to say customer gets customer, and then it should also output customers as customers. And the imports are going to be a little different. So let's fix that. So we need these instead. So let's go back here and that. And we've got inertia comes in for this, and then response matches up to that response now. Sorry, I'm thinking quietly. To think out loud, I'm just thinking if there were another controller action in here that returned a general Symfony response or Illuminate Laravel response, I just want to make sure that this gets imported properly, either as a fully qualified bit, meaning that like it gets imported as this. So I kind of just need I'll do it off stream, but there needs to be a compound test that tests this with other controller actions just to make sure it works. And I think I have like all the statements kind of examples somewhere in here. So I'll come back to that. Okay, so if we run this, We have our output now. That makes a little more sense. So we need to back all the way up to our lexer. We need to back all the way up to our controller lexer. So if we have a controller lexer, we need to make a controller lexer test. And let's see what we're testing in here. It returns controllers. Okay, so it kind of demonstrates some render statements here. This is good. It returns a web resource. I'm just seeing what other things we have in here, like how deep do we go on these statements. It returns a specific resource controller. It returns a resource controller with overrides. So a lot of this stuff, let's just expand this. A lot of this stuff is about resource controllers. So it returns a controller is kind of my deepest bit here. I'm just thinking, do I really care? Do I really care to have, do I need a test for the lexer? I mean, if it's not lexing, it's not going to render down in the controller generator, right? Like I don't know how, given that I don't have like everything lexed, I kind of don't think that's necessary. I'm just going to jump ahead and kind of keep this a really kind of end-to-end test through the controller generator. Because if we look at the lexer, if we look at the controller lexer, I'm not testing every single, lexing path. I really just test the shorthands that get expanded. Everything else is assumed to be parsed as YAML, so it's not a big deal. So let's just drive it out all the way through here, I think. Let's go down and find our render statement. And let's just kind of copy this. And we'll call this, I don't think these are alphabetized. I don't know though. So I'm just going to tack it on to the bottom here. We'll say else if, and then we'll say render statement. We'll call this the inertia statement. I guess that's the only part that's the only part I have to parse it into an inertia statement. So that's where it gets a little funky. Anyway, let's just keep going. Let's do render statement. Let's borrow this. I'm gonna copy this, and I could probably subclass this inertia statement. I think I spelled it right that time. Okay, inertia statement has parameters. It's got a view. It's got data. Again, I don't know if the view is right name here, but what it outputs would be inertia render, right? And data is all the same. So this is really all the same, to be honest. It's kind of just this part changes. Yeah, I think I could definitely just subclass the render statement. Let's make it work. That's an easy refactor to subclass. Let's get into controller lexer again, because I think I am going to need to parse this out. Let's just find where we get render in here. There it is. Somewhere in here we should, wait. Is it the lexer that parses things? I kind of forgot the architecture here. It's blueprint lexes. Lexer puts it into an abstract syntax tree. Statement lexer, there it is. That's why I'm not seeing all of them. The statement lexer. Statement lexer is a sublexer. This has the tests that we want. That's why I didn't see them. Statement lexer test probably has all the different statements. Yeah, render statement with data, event, yeah, okay. This is what we want. I'll just make a quick test here with data. I think that's fair. Let's do this. Let's just do one with data. It's no big deal. It returns an inertia statement with data. I think this is good enough. So let's call it inertia post indexed with foo bar bars. Totally fine. So the data is going to be foo, but instead it's going to be an inertia statement, which we've made. So if I take this test and run vendor bin PHP unit, we should get a failure because it didn't actually parse it out. Actual size is 0. So we said, oh, you should have gotten some token or some actual statements back, but it didn't get any. So let's go down into analyze, and here we go. Let's borrow this, make this inertia, and I'm gonna alphabetize these real fast. There we go. That's kind of annoying. It's flash and store, but whatever. Save. Okay, cool. So inertia got put in here. So now we're gonna analyze inertia. That's gonna very much be like analyze render. So we'll just borrow it as well. Analyze inertia and make an inertia statement. Pretty straightforward stuff. Let's run this again. Almost passed. I didn't import it. Helps if you import it. And this should give me back an inertia statement. There we go. We're passing. Okay, cool. So now if we go back here, we get destroy. Whoa. Oh, did I run them all? I went too far. There we go. Filter. Let's see what we're getting now. Okay, we're still not outputting anything because I don't think we finished wiring up. So we've got the lexer. It's lexing now. It's building that statement. If we go back to the generator and we properly import this now, this should just work, I think. So let's try. What do we get? We're still not getting the render there. Did I not type this inertia statement right? Where's our example? Where's our inertia render example? Ah, I called it render inertia from the example. Okay, so let's just call it inertia. Keep with the one word controller statements. And I think, there we go, render inertia. Okay, sorry, return inertia render, customer show, customers, missing a comma there, no problem. And then we're missing the imports, of course. So we're getting closer. Let's go here, let's add that comma. That should be a bit closer now. Okay, so we've got that. We call it customer show. Customer show. Again, I don't know if this is the proper thing, but whatever you put there is gonna just come across literally, so it's no big deal, whatever that is. Now I think it's a matter of making sure that the import statements are there, which we have a control path for in the generator. So I think down here we kind of say, all right, if statement's instance of a respond statement, then add that. Otherwise we need to kind of like inject some stuff. So here we go. So here we have an inertia statement. And if you're an inertia statement, then you should return, what did we say? Inertia response. Eee! Where'd I go? Sorry, I lost my window placement there. And then also too, if you are a inertia statement here, we will need to add an import for inertia in general, just to make sure that that's all good. So here we would add this one. All right. Boom, boom. There we go. Okay, let's see how this works. There we go. We're passing. Nice. Okay, cool. So this outputs, we now have an inertia statement. So if you type inertia in your YAML, you can, just like you render a blade view, you can render whatever page path thing that gets output, and then also pass it data that's either, available in the local scope of the controller, whether that's passed in as implicit model binding in one of your conventional resourceful actions, or it's generated from a prior statement, you can pass that in. So again, this works just like a render statement, but now it will render and import inertia properly. So let's get rid of that dump, and let's go ahead and push this up. Where is our, you know what, we'll just let git help us out. Git add dash p, or well, first pint dash dash dirty. Let's make sure we're good there. Okay, we're good. So git add dash p. So yes, we want to bring in our inertia statement. No on that dump. Yes, we want to add the output from an inertia statement. We want to handle the return type from inertia statements. In our statement lexer, we're going to parse a new inertia statement. There's our method to do so. Here's where we've added the test. Here's where we've added the tests. Everything's good. And then we need to git add, I want those, let's do 4 star q. There we go. I just want the new files, but I didn't want that controller thing. So I didn't do git add dot, as the whole world does. Git commit dash m support new inertia controller statement. Git push. Whoops. Git push origin head. Okay, that's out there. I'll make the PR later. Cool. 1 down. 1 to go. Hey Wooter, how's it going? Doing well. Doing well. Tired as usual, you know. Young child parent. Young children parent. Okay, so this is good. Well, I'll tag that and we'll go. Let's look at this next one. Let's just keep going here. What time is it? 10:20. We'll go another 20 minutes. So let's see if we can get 1 or 2 more of these. Okay, somebody mentioned adding support for the new geography types. When you put in model geography, it looks like it just outputs a string instead of geography. Geography points. What is that? Okay, let's go see what Laravel supports. Geography. Okay. Oh, subtype point. Okay, is that what's going on there? So geometry, geography. What else do they support? Let's take a look here. Do they support a point? I thought they had a point. I thought they had a new point class. Am I crazy? LMNOP. I don't see it, so maybe I'm wrong. I guess they just have geometry and then a subtype, and same thing, geography and then a subtype. Support for spatial types depends on your database driver. Please refer. Geometry creates a geometry equivalent column with a given spatial type and SRID identifier. I'm just trying to think of the syntax here. I'm just trying to think of what the syntax should be when you create these. So let's do this. Let's do a checkout dash b geography types from master. All right, we should be back without the inertia stuff. Cool. Just don't want to introduce any bugs or stack PRs on top one another. So what we need now is migration. Let's look at the fixture migrations. I think we have like a crazy. Let's get into our draft files again. Let's just go to our draft files again. So we have drafts. Let's just make a new geography types. Is it geography or geometry? What are these really called? Spatial types? Math types? I'll just call them geometry types. Geometry types. Okay, cool. And let's take their example. Let's borrow this. Whoops, not that. Let's borrow this. And let's just do this. Description nullable text. we have coordinates, and then let's have something else like, I don't know, I'll just call it zone, and let's say something like geometry. And I don't know if I like the comma. This kind of feels, what this feels like to me is an attribute. It feels like an attribute. It's not necessarily a column modifier. It's actually it's not like nullable, for example. A nullable, I think, is what we call a modifier. If we go back and look at the docs, they talk about column types and then column modifiers, I believe, if we look down. So where is it? Yeah, column modifiers are things like nullable, or, you know, it goes after this or whatever else. So I don't think I want to make this a modifier. So for example, I don't want to do like geography points. I think this is more like a attribute, kind of like string here. Its length is 100. So I think what I'd rather do is colon points and then comma for that SRID thing. So in this case, like 0 or something, right? And then geometry, kind of to the point here, would be from the example in the docs. If we go back to geometry, or maybe I had these backwards. Geography would be like this, and points would be, you know, that. So taking the examples from, let's take position here, for example. So let's just take this from the Laravel docs, and let's see if we can generate what we expect to generate. So let's just go to the migration generator. This one might take longer than the stream, because you really have to generate the model. You have to generate the casts, I think, potentially. There's a lot of stuff you actually end up having to generate here. But let's focus on the migration first. So we'll go down to our data set again. We've got this Boolean column. So we should probably say something like geometry columns. But that's okay. Let's drop this in here, and we'll say geometry columns, and I'll change the name of that, YAML, .yaml, and this will create, what is it going to end up creating? A location. So let's say timestamp create locations table, not double S. We don't need that part, I think, right now. Oh wait, no, this is the generated output, sorry. And then we need the corresponding one here. What do we call these? Do we match these with? We match these with the name, so this would be geometry columns. There we go. All right, cool. We should be able to run this. Vendor bin PHP unit. Whoops, not that. This, that, boom. That should explode. Things don't exist. Let's dial this in first. So filter is output for the 33rd. Okay, there we go. So we need to touch a couple things here. So tests, fixtures, migrations, that. So now we should get it failing. Is that not right? Oh, I don't have the draft file. I need to rename the draft file. Let's find this, rename the draft file, refactor, rename. This is geometry columns. All right, now we should get an error a mockery error that this thing does not match blank, which is good. Okay, so now we need to actually make this work. So let's go look at the migrations generator. Migration generator. I don't think this parses stuff out. So what we need to do is when we populate the stub, table name, table definition, it gets a model. I'm kind of curious. Okay, model has columns. Here's what I want to do. I want to dump columns, or sorry, model columns. And let's see if geography is even in here. Okay, it is. Oh, good, and it already parses out attributes. So it kind of knows positions, geometry worked. Oh, so it's just geography. It's just geography that's not getting pulled out. This actually worked. So there must already be a parser for there must already be a model. In the model's lexer, there must already be something in there. So let's go take a look. Model lexer. My guess is in here there's just not geometry. Yeah, there it is. There's not geometry. There's point, polygon. Do those even exist anymore? Oh, they do it. That's part of the upgrade. They do in Laravel 10, don't they? That's one of the big changes in Laravel 11 was actually they got rid of debal and they're doing it themselves now. Yeah, if we go down to 10, unfortunately Blueprint still supports 10. If you go in here, I think you'll see point. Yeah, you got all these extra. Yeah, that's what it is. So it's kind of like we need to support both for now. And then when only 11 supported, all these extra crappy ones can go away. Not crappy ones, specific ones can go away, sorry. But a lot of these can go away is the point. Okay, so for now, the simplest thing, let's just add this and we'll change this to geography, and it really just gets parsed out the same way. So let's just find where this gets parsed. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, let's just run it. Okay, cool. Now it is actually pulling out the attributes the way we expect. Awesome. So what is it generating? So now let's dump what it's actually generating. This might just work. This might just work, to be honest. Let's go back to where we make our stub. There it is. Okay, populate stub. And let's dump stub and just see how close we are. Might just be simply that. Okay, so now we have geography, coordinates, points for, okay, so that should probably get quoted? Question mark? That should probably be quoted, right? I'll say it with a little more authority. That should probably be quoted. Let's go look at geography again. Okay, these aren't necessary. The order's the same. So yeah, the second argument's going to need to be quoted. Okay, so let's fix that. In our migration generator, when we build definition, do we have anything for geometry? We don't. Okay, so let's find where we're actually like quoting this stuff. Okay, so if column attributes in array data type, where does column attributes get used? In array data type, integer types, okay, is numeric. All right, if not empty column attributes and it's not a column type, an ID column type, then we just implode it. There we go. Okay, so right here, we kind of need to say, like, if you're geometry or geography, you can't just implode it. You have to take the first argument and quote it out, right? Yeah. Okay, let's do that. I wonder if JSON encode would just work. I don't think so. Yeah, let's just do a pre-check here. Let's say if in array column data type, kind of similar to our thing below, we can just say geography or geometry. I don't know why I can't spell today. Then we kind of just we would take column attributes 0 and wrap it. So we say column attributes. Okay, AirPods, thank you. We say column attributes 0 and just wrap it as a string. Is there an str wrap? That would be awesome. Str wrap. There is. Value before. So let's do column attributes. Whoops. 0. Wrap it with a quote. Let's see what we get. Column attributes. So we're just kind of wrapping the very first one. Nope. That did not work the way I wanted it to. Is column attributes right? Let's find out. Let's dump here. Are we getting there? Yep, we're getting there. Why did it not work? Before. What's before? Maybe column attribute 0 is not what I think it is. It should have been. It should be point. Yeah, it is. Points. Is it points or point? It's point. Okay, so my little description there is a bit wrong. Points. Point. There we go. All right. Getting close. Why isn't this wrapping? I think maybe str wrap doesn't do what I think it does. Why are AirPods? What is going on with you? Why are we connecting and disconnecting every 5 seconds? Let's see what this is actually doing. Does it actually wrap it the way I think it does? Yeah, it does. What the heck? Column attributes. I don't redefine column attributes. Am I crazy? str wrap. It returns the new string, and I put it back in column attributes, which gets used here to implode. What is your dilly, yo? Let's just dump column attributes. Something's happening here. Yeah, point is getting wrapped. Am I crazy here? What is going on here? Dump. Oh, did I get rid of my other dump? Maybe I was looking at an old test run. I think I might have been looking at an old test run. Dump stub. Could have been working all along. There we go, point. Okay, sorry. I must have been looking at an old test run. I'm not sure what I did there. Okay, this works. Now I think we could just copy. I think we could just copy this into our geometry columns PHP file, paste, replace, /in, and let's make sure this looks the way we expect. Locations, descriptions of text, it's nullable. Table geography, coordinates, point. Here's our SRID. It's the default, so you don't have to specify it, but we're proving that you can. Same with the other one. Does subtype have? No, subtype has to be specified. So you don't have to put this in. It would just work. And maybe we could go ahead and make this. I'm just curious. I got rid of my dump, but yeah, I think it's fine. It doesn't explode if we don't send it. So I think it's okay to pass those in. Okay, so there we go. We support these now. I think, though, if we look at eloquent casts, I do think there's a geometry cast. I think maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy. I thought they added one. I thought they added a geometry one recently. Geometry. Sometimes things get added and they're not in the docs. Let me just check this and then I'll finish up the stream. I feel like something. Let's look at pull requests. Let's look at merged and geometry. I could have sworn add support. No, that's a long time ago. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Who had that? I recently did a tweet about this, and I could have sworn there was some base support underneath, or sorry, built in. But maybe there was a small package out there that I used instead. I don't remember. I don't remember now. Someone in the comments can tell me or share with the world. I'm not too sure. I don't use these very often. The one above has added them from what I see. I don't know what that means. Anyway, I think the base thing here is supported. The only other thing to do here would be to cast it if Laravel 11 supported that. But on the surface, it does not. I must have been dreaming about that cast. So I'm going to ignore that for a minute. So I don't think there's anything else to do here is ultimately what I'm saying. So let's pint dirty and let's just look at that model lexer test real quick. Model lexer test. Do we parse out like all the types or no? Do we just kind of have a generic test here? Disables the ID column, disables timestamps. Yeah, I don't think there's anything to really do here. We don't parse out all the different column types. Yeah, here's where we mess with modifiers. So yeah, I could put in like a geometry one here just to make sure, but I think it's okay. I think it's okay. All right, cool. I think let's just go for this. Git add -p. Yes. Yes, add the geography one. We ended up supporting both. Okay, that's it. And then we need our new stuff, of course. So git commit -m output new Laravel 11 geo types, geo column types, git push origin head. Voodoo, I don't think your link gets shared in the comments that I see, so no worries. Yeah, I guess the bottom line is I must have been dreaming that it was in core. But hey, Laravel 12 is right around the corner. Maybe it will be. Let's see if there's a quick win here. I don't think there is. I think the rest of these are pretty dense. Oh, you know what? What time is it? This one's not so bad. In Laravel 11, in a brand new default Laravel 11 app, you don't get the base controller with traits anymore. So you don't have access to like this middleware and this authorize and that kind of stuff. So this should really be gate authorize, I believe, is what the new syntax is. So it's really just a very quick syntax change. I think we could make this happen. Let me just confirm that in the docs. Let's do authorization. And let's do, I think there's : authorize. Yeah, see, they do gate authorize here. So basically you do this. Can you do it? Let's just make sure I'm not crazy here. I don't think I have any authorize resource traits in this, but I could be wrong. So let's just find out. Authorize resource. I don't think I support that because that would have to be in the constructor, and I don't think I'm doing any magic there. Could be wrong. Might be wrong. No, that's the policy. Wait a second. Controller policy, authorize resource, str replace. I don't see anywhere where I'm outputting. Oh, I am outputting authorize resource. I don't think Laravel 11 has an authorized resource anymore. I think I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. I don't think they have an equivalent authorized resource. I think you're supposed to just use the middleware instead, like can or whatever. I don't think you use that method anymore. So I think for now, I could do this authorize. I could handle this authorize. Let's see if there's a test for this, first of all. There's not a test for this. I'm just going to do this off stream because I don't think this is... Okay, here we go. There are tests for this. Let's do this very quickly. I think in our controllers, let's change this to gate. But the problem is gate authorize resource isn't going to have one. So let's do that. And let's see if we just land. Basically, we need to change this to gate : authorize. We're just going to broadly change this. First of all, get checkout -b, authorize, gate authorize, e master. All right, let's make a new one. Let's replace all of those. Let's run our tests. This is going to explode. There's a couple issues too. We need to now import the gate facade. So it says gate authorize now, which is good, but that's not what maybe is getting generated. So let's go to our controller generator, and let's find in here where we do gate : authorize. Okay, cool. We don't want this slash here anymore. That was there for the $sign before, so let's take this out. And then what are we saying here? We're saying if controller has a policy and the policy is not authorize resource, then we map okay, so I think what this is saying is if you're one of the resourceful actions, I don't think we have an authorize controller statement, do we? Do we have an authorized controller statement? We don't. So this is all cruddy controller magic that Blueprint's doing. I'm curious how this comes out. But anyway, it seems as though as if you generate a policy and your controller action matches one of the policy methods where they align, then it throws in this gate. And I think basically if we get in here, then we need to make sure that the gate facade is imported. So I think right now if I ran this, everything should pass because I fixed the slash. But it's a little bit incomplete. The nuance is that these things now need to have the gate facade imported instead of referencing a method that used to exist on the controller. Authorize resource is kind of going to throw an error for now because it still needs to support Laravel 10, which will be going away in like a month. So I don't care that there's a little bit of mixed syntax here. This authorize resource, would still work in 10, but I'm probably going to have to rip it out in 11 and come up with a new syntax there. I'm not sure what the new syntax is for authorizing a resource at large, like at the controller or at the constructor level. Again, I think you're just supposed to use middleware. If you want to authorize the whole thing based on a policy, I think you just use middleware. So, all that is to say, if we come down here, why is my indent weird? If we come down here, we would say this add import. I think I pass it controller, yes. And then I have to pass it the facade, which would be illuminate support gate, or facades, sorry, facades gate. Yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. So we import the class, good. What's wrong with you? Pint, I think Pint doesn't like my indentation level there, that's fine. Dirty. Okay, we run this again, and it should get some failures because we're going to be missing some imports in a couple of these resourceful controller fixtures, which we can go and fix. So let's go fix these. Which one is it? policy statement. I wish it gets truncated right where I need it to give me the whole thing. Anyway, let's just go with this. That's fine. Let's find this. Let's fix this. We're so close. Come on, PHP Storm, you can do it. In fairness, it's more my iMac than PHP Storm. This is like a 2019 iMac. Okay, controller definition path, controller all policies. Here we go. Let's open that with all policies, and alphabetical order here would be here. We would say support facades gate. And that comes in now. All right, and if we run this again, we should only have one failure. Good. And we need to go find that other one. So that other test is here. Output generates controller with some policies. All right, good enough. And then here's some policies. Same thing, drop that down. Support facades gate. Run it, pass it. Let's go. All right, cool. Dirty, whoops, not dit, dirty. Just make sure we're clean, we are. So let's get add-p, and I think that'll be the end of their stream. So yes, let's add the import, good. Update the fixtures, good. All good. I don't know why there's an extra space there, but whatever. That's good. Okay, that looks good. So we really just changed the controller because it straight outputs that particular thing. There's no like controller statement or lexer or anything to change here. It's just what gets output if you're using a policy. It's automatic. Automatic code generation there from Blueprint. So again, less typing, more code getting generated. Perfect. All right, so git commit -m, use new gate, not new gate facade, but use gate facade directly. Git push origin head. Okay, so I'm going to open PRs for these. I'll kind of explain and document a little bit more since a lot of this stuff is new and different, and kind of also give the note about that authorize resource. I'm still curious what authorize, is there an equivalent for authorize resource? How do you authorize a full resource? Is it middleware? You might just use middleware. Can update post. Middleware can create. See, those kind of use the direct. What if you just wanted to authorize, like, is resource even said on this page? Resource. Okay. Way to authorize against a given resource. Resource is on here. Define, edit setting. That's just a broader one. Generating policies. Deleting the resource. Yeah, I think we're just circling. So there's definitely not an equivalent authorize resource method. I want to just go back to 10 real quick. Does 10 demonstrate authorize resource? It does. Okay, so authorizing resource controllers. If you're utilizing resource controllers, okay, you may take it. Okay, this method accepts the model class name. So this just wires everything up for you. If you're utilizing resource controllers, you can make use. So it seems like this is linkable. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to 10. This is a link. This is a subsection. It's not in 11. Does the upgrade? I don't remember the upgrade guide saying anything about this. Authorize. It doesn't say anything. See, this is one of those. Love the upgrade guide. Love the upgrade guide. It doesn't cover everything. Doesn't cover everything. That just quietly went away. Authorizing resource just quietly went away. There's no mention of its alternative. I'm sure there is one. I'm sure there is one. But where is it? What do you use? What do you use instead? Right? I think they mention the base controller in here. They do mention the base controller somewhere, I think. No, they don't. I think it's mentioned somewhere, in fairness. I think it's mentioned somewhere that controllers, there's no word controller in the upgrade guide, but again, I think it's somewhere in here it talks about how it no longer extends it, I believe. I don't know the equivalent for authorized resource. No, I don't think it still just works. Not in level 11 for default. There's no way it still just works, because the base controller doesn't have the traits anymore. And the gate doesn't have authorized resource method directly, otherwise it would be documented. So yeah, it's in the authorized request trait, but you would have to put that, you'd have to put that back on your controller, your individual controller, or on your base controller. And I remember looking at this a while ago, and I think there's a comment that Dries was like, this is gonna go away. There's not a clear upgrade path is the point I'm ultimately making. There's not a clear upgrade path, and I would worry that that trait, that authorizes request trait, might go away in Laravel 12 or 13. So what is the modern way to authorize a resource the way we used to in Laravel 10? I don't know what that answer is. I'll find out and update Blueprint to do it. I think it's through middleware. I think there's a way to do it through middleware. I just don't know what the syntax is, and it's not on that specific page. But this is one of the areas where the documentation, you kind of have to know where to go look for stuff, because that might be on the middleware page or the resourceful controller page and not the authorization page. So anyway, the point is 3 bugs down. I'll work on those other 2. I think they're going to go a bit slower, but I think this was good. Did kind of double time here. Normally I like to keep these at a half hour. We did an hour, but we got 3 of these done. That puts me right at 10, I think, once these are merged. Again, I like to get it under 10, so I think I'll work on these 2. These look pretty straightforward, though. Invalid model. It seems like they're just some reference issues. I don't think those would make for very good live streams anyway. So hopefully these were fun. We got to add some Lexer. We added some little support, sprinkled in a little bit of support for inertia. That's awesome. And we're kind of starting to peak more towards Laravel 11 and Laravel 12 here pretty soon. So to that point, Blueprint will probably officially drop support for Laravel 10, generating Laravel 10 application code. Honestly, probably pretty soon. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining live. I will see you in 2025. Ooh, nice little rhyme there. See ya.